All right. Back with Jeffrey Saad for another session. So where I wanted to start today, talk to me again about your circle. And there you go. What that means to you.
Yeah, it is. I've never thought my most powerful tattoo could be a simple circle that took, 3 minutes to put on there. But it's like everything in life, right? It's the simplest stuff that is the most powerful. That's the irony of the tattoo itself. But it's the Stoic philosophy of do not be weighed down by anything that's outside your circle of control. Like I wish they would teach this stuff in kindergarten, right? It's like, if you can't affect it, then let it go because it's just going to weigh you down and it's going to dilute the stuff that you can affect. That's the funny thing. If there's two things in the circle that you can make better, my processes, my life, my family, they are being diluted by all this energy you're putting outside the circle that you can't control.
So going back to something you just talked about, curiosity and drive, and we'll weave that in here. To me, the thing, we talk about awareness, and the more you become aware, the more there is to be aware of. And I think you and I, we share this purpose and passion of trying to help people move forward in their lives and to get unstuck. And the thing that I am really focused on is, and I'd like to get your take on this, because I think it's the key to living a better life, is how do we flip our fear, which we have all the time, because every day we wake up and we have to step into uncertainty every day. And most people step into the uncertainty, with fear, worry, concern. How do we flip that fear into curiosity and drive? How do you make that shift?
As usual, you've got the $1 million question. And what I love about you, Steve, is what I've always noticed about you over the years is what you said is so true. We do care about making a difference because I see you. It's not just like, oh, I got paid and did the call, I'm done. It's like you're frustrated. Frustrated might not be the right word because you want to see the needle move. And it's like, it makes you crazy. It makes me crazy when we can't move the needle, where we see people getting in their own way. So I think that's, huge. And that's what does define, purpose or passion is that true desire.
So let's go back to the surfing analogy, because more and more for me, I love this analogy because life is just one big wave and that's all we're doing every day is surfing the wave, and we can either get better at it or not.
Yeah.
What are the lessons that surfing teaches you just about living?
Yeah, that's great. I go on all day about that. For starters, I think, as we've always talked about Kaizen, right? Getting 1% better every day, just a little bit better, right? You become a good fighter by throwing the first punch. You become a great partner by doing something kind for someone else. Everything starts with one motion. Surfing is like life. It starts by just getting comfortable, getting equilibrium on the board, just floating for a minute. Start by floating and getting a sense of how the water and the board react to each other. Then it's about standing up. But guess what? As a new surfer, you might need to go to one knee first. That's okay. Go to one knee, see where the wave's at, then stand up, little by little. But most importantly, what I love about surfing and life is it's all about reading the wave. You want to talk about tactical empathy, just like you've taught us. Riding the wave is the same thing. In the beginning, what did I do? I just went, wave, go. Wasted a ton of energy, got pummeled because the wave closed out. Then all of a sudden you're like, wait, stop. Read the wave. Oh, it's on an angle. There's the shoulder. Okay, I need to be over there. And yep, it's enough of a steep that I'm going to get that shoulder. Or no, it's straight across. It's going to close out. Know when to let the wave pass. Know when to go for that shoulder and paddle like hell. And that's the difference, I think. And it's also like life. Sometimes you get smashed on the reef. Okay, you're going to bleed. You'll heal. Does that mean you're done surfing? No, it just means, what could I do better next time? Why did that happen? So the whole energy can't be like, I got hurt. The story should just be, what can I do differently? Okay, got it. Now let's go put that in play.
So when you're looking for that entry point, Are you thinking? Are you just totally focused in the moment? What's going on inside your head?
I think it's like everything, right? Like learning a language. In the beginning, it's like, how are you? ¿Cómo está usted? Right? And then all of a sudden you start dreaming in that language, right? And I think surfing and anything else you do is the same way. In the beginning, you're overthinking everything. Am I in the right position? Am my body too much forward, too much backward? When do I start paddling? But like everything, if somebody complains to me or tells me, oh, this real estate deal isn't working out, or this isn't happening in my life, how much effort have you put into it? Have you gotten to the point where turning the board, paddling twice and standing up is natural? Or are you stuck in beginner mode, right? Like, these realtors, I've been in the business 30 years. No, you haven't. You've repeated year one 30 times, So it's like, I think, so there are times, depending on the size of the wave, that I'm like, oh boy, do I have my stuff together? But most times it's just like you turn and go, because you all that processing happens in a millisecond.
And I want to go through this. I mean, this was your thing.
Yeah.
And you were really good at it. Mentally, what happened? Like, how did you process? You're doing your thing. You had to be loving it, right?
Oh, beyond belief. If they knew that I would have done it for free,
You had to be loving it.
Yeah.
It's not like football. It's not like you got injured or something.
Yeah. Just my ego got hurt.
Right. And when you heard they were canceling the show, what was your process?
Well, when he called me, I knew it was coming. We'd done 3 seasons. Gulp. I just felt it, swallowed. I mean, it was literally like, I'm like, oh, now I know what it's like to get shot. That's what it must feel like. And the worst part was having my wife there on speakerphone hearing it, because she was a champion. Like I said, it's like, here we are doing great in real estate. We're at the top of our game, just sold our biggest sale ever. And I'm like, all right, we're done with real estate. I'm doing this food thing. What? We'll figure it out. Okay. And she was, all in, and she was as vested as I was. So it was also trying to carry her pain or empathize with her. But then, as always, I quickly pivoted, clot quickly, purge quickly. I literally said, that just means something better is coming. And in the meantime, I'll open a restaurant again. Because what a perfect, platform to be, have for this stuff, But that's where I think my fear came from. I was so afraid of not having something, of not doing something, right? Like, if I look back, what I really wish? We all see life through our own eyes, obviously.
Right.
I wish I would give anything to see all those chapters not through my eyes. Right? There's the gold. What was I doing wrong? What could I have learned? What happened? Because there was something else in there. Obviously.
The first principle is that you must not fool yourself. And, we must see ourselves in the world in a new way. And so, all right. So the show got canceled, and was the restaurant a reflex to?
Yeah, I think it definitely was a reflex. I thought, I got to do something, because.
Were you trying to prove anything, or just?
I'm sure that was part of it too.
Okay.
I'm sure that was part of it too. I'm sure I thought, I got to, show the world I am a great chef, and this is what I do. And, all those juices came running back from the 25-year-old guy that started all these restaurants. I'm like, I got this. I love this.
How much, if any, of your identity was wrapped up in all this stuff?
Tons.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. And that's the danger, as right? Like that, and that's even the problem with people that have that victim mentality. Your identity, even if negative, feels more comfortable than the unknown.
Right.
And I think it was definitely my identity. It was definitely ego. It was definitely moving too fast. I mean, if I look back, what if I didn't put all that energy, right? Like, the power of no is huge. What have you said no to lately, right? Because yes is like spending money. No is like saving money. Are you overdrawn? Where are you at? Because I think should have said no. And maybe if I put all the energy that I spent on the restaurant into prospecting, just like real estate, into being relentless with finding a new show, another angle, another avenue, that who knows, it could have been different. Again, I have no regrets, no could have, should have, because I've always said, I love my life, and you don't get to pull out one ingredient and have the dish taste the same. So the reality is you need that bitter in there to offset the sweet, baby. And that's just the way it's going to be. So, but yeah, lots of lessons.
All right. So that was one failure followed by another failure. How did that impact you?
Which one?
You said the show got canceled.
And then
restaurant, boom, boom, and boom. Did you question yourself? in any point in time?
I mean, I remember floating out of the water like a little whiny bitch. Like, oh, I can't believe I've put all I had literally like a 15-minute pity party on the water.
Okay.
And then I said, are you kidding me? You wuss. Like, enough. You have two choices, right? Like, stand up and go again or sit here and wallow, and it was a great opportunity. I love these moments because it's like time to practice what you preach, baby. And I immediately was like, next, cleaned off the carnitas under my fingernails, went to the open house and double-sided a $3 million house the next weekend. And it was like, I'm back and I'm going to transition this thing right. And
so how do you pivot that quickly?
Because I pivot that quickly by just asking myself again, what is the better path here? Is it to sit here and whine and to be pitiful? Or do I owe my family, my friends, myself more than that? I have a responsibility here. It was like the day Isabella was born and then Sebastian, I'm like, I got something. I got a responsibility here. I felt the same way for my wife and I felt the same way for me. It's like, no, and then all these quotes started rushing in my head. That's what I love about everything you and I do and everything we're trying to share with people is like, if you can build up the armor, then it's just ding. If you got no armor, you're eviscerated with the first bump, So all these quotes came rushing back into my head, right? I'll never forget, that was an Abe Lincoln quote. Like, nobody succeeds in this world until they absolutely hit bottom. I was like, sweet, I'm there. I only got up from here. You know what I mean? So it was like all those things came rushing in to reinforce. It's like I had this army of helpers that I didn't even know about. Life, experiences, reading, studying, believing, doing this stuff daily, not just for the podcast, but like making it part of your life. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, it helped me. It was there. It was there when I needed it. I just had to be willing to tap into it and stop the pity party.
So is there such a thing as failure? Do you feel like you've ever failed?
I really feel failure is the needed ingredient for success. So I think if you are afraid of failure, then you can't succeed. And
no, hold on. I mean, this is really, you are not going to succeed without failing.
No way.
There's no way.
No way.
No way. And, I'm sure people have heard it before. Failure and success are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have one without the other. There's no way around it. Life is not just a straight shot up.
No.
And both of our lives are proof.
And I want to ask you real quick. I want to say one thing and then I have a question for you. I think that the key to failure is fail fast and fail often. Because that's when you get juiced. It's those lessons that you learn from, but the key is to just fail fast because like you said, there's no point, in digging in if it doesn't make sense. But the question I have for you, Steve, is did it feel any different to be done with football? Because from an outsider's point of view, it could be like, well, of course he knew he's done. It has a shelf life because it really is like, athletes for the most part, there's the exceptions, the Tom Brady's or whoever, but did that feel different than not having Tellus work out the way it was supposed to? How were those two things different for you?
When football ended, due to an injury, looking back on it, I think I went into a minor depression for about 6 months.
Because how many years did you have left if you hadn't gotten injured, probably?
Hopefully would have played 10 years.
Wow. So that's a lot. I don't remember that. Okay. Well, in that case, that is a big deal. Yeah. So how did that work out?
And so I got a job. I forget even what job I had.
Yeah.
I go to work every day and then come home and go to bed. I definitely went through, it took me a while to, and I was just like in a funk. Not
your
a bad
identity again, right?
Yeah. And, so you get over that. And it was like with you. One day I woke up and I said, no, this got to stop. And even though I had invested 5 years of my life, I mean, all my clients, everything, you talk about Nadia, Katerina.
Yeah.
She hated me for 5 years.
Yeah.
She hated that decision. She never believed in it. And, but no, I can do this. No, I can do this. And I just ran into a buzzsaw with the guys I was, in business with. And we just didn't see things the same way. And again, just woke up one day and said, done. And and pivoted.
And how did you pivot? What did you do for yourself to pivot?
Well, I realized
anymore.
Yeah.
How did you get through that? And then with TELUS.
What I realized is, and we talked about a little bit last time, you have to figure things out. When things don't work out, you got to figure out what comes next. And I tried to hook up with another real estate company, and that didn't work out. And, went back in. I don't even remember half the shit anymore. Was still coaching. And then Compass came along, and I met Robert Revkin and, developed a relationship with him.
And see, if it wasn't for TELUS and all that same story may not have played out.
Yeah.
Now you're killing it more than ever, right? Performance coaching is epic.
Failure is just part of the deal in life. There's no way. And now getting back to, something we discussed earlier, the whole idea of being curious. All right, instead of waking up every day, which I think most people wake up, oh my God, how am I going to get through today? It's, I wonder what's going to happen today. And being just so open and curious and not attached. And there's a distinction. I was reading a book by David Brooks, and he talks about the difference between detachment and non-attachment. And there's a big...
Interesting. Tell me, because that's new to me. Explain that.
Detachment is, I think you're checked out. You kind of numb yourself out, and you're just going through the motions. Non-attachment is you're still engaged in the process fully. You got, everything going on.
It just doesn't own you.
It just, whatever's going to be was going to be. And you're getting exactly, you're not owned by a specific outcome. And I think you and I are great examples of this. I mean, we've got talent, and shit keeps happening.
Oh yeah.
It's like, there's just no guarantee. And I think in life, everyone's just creating this illusion about what life really is. Life is just life, period. Live it right here, right now, in front of you. This whole idea of, oh my God, I want this and I want that and I want all these things. If you can get to the place where you simply embrace and love who you are, okay, and you want what you have, want what you have right now, and you're open and curious to whatever comes next. I think, what more do you need?
Yeah.
If you can do those three things.
That's everything, Steve. Yeah. That's all there is. Yeah. And what I really believe to my core is that if anybody can live what you just said, the energy you show up with is like superhero stuff. I mean, because everything in life is about feelings, right? You know that, right? It's not the best listing agent that gets the listing. It's the one who
it's energy
gets the most connect. Yeah. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because you just show up differently. If the whole focus can be not what's everything that needs to get done in my life, but just what's the next thing, I'm just going to do the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing. That is so much easier than everything.
So, you're a bright guy. And you've been doing real estate how long now?
23 years.
23 years.
Yeah.
And are you really doing anything different today than 23 years ago?
Only bringing my best self.
Right.
Better every year.
You got better, but no. Are you really doing anything? No.
Because you taught me that from day one. Talk to people.
Right.
That's it. The 6 things you said are perfect. But the number one is just talk to people.
Cultivate relationship. Yeah. That's at the focus of all this.
Yeah.
And so help me, help them. Tell them, Jeffrey, tell them.
Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't even think about anybody else. The only thing you have to do is wake up and say, am I doing what I promised myself I would do? 2, am I getting a little bit better at it each day? And 3, am I going to sleep feeling like I'm living the life I want to live? And if you can do those 3 things, that's all you have to focus on, because it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. This was such a wake up call to me. Over the years, you see somebody who's announcing all the listings, who just seems on fire. It's like, damn, boom, bah, bah, bah.
and everyone else is always on fire.
Yeah.
You're the only one who's ever not doing anything, right?
You get the rankings.
Yeah.
And
The
we're
beauty contest.
30 steps above them. They're not even on the list.
Right.
And you're allowing those people to get into your psyche. So not that even matters, by the way. Who cares where you are on the list? But the point is, if you want to really clarify it, they're not doing any better than you 90% of the time. But more importantly, it shouldn't be about anybody else, because I can't think of anything more exhausting. You want to talk about outside the circle of control, the world, everybody else's success or failure. I don't have near enough energy to do that. You know, all I want to do is wake up and say, I'm being the Jeffrey I'm trying to be. I love my life. What don't I love? Okay, let me fix that, because there's a process for that.
So you are absolutely the antithesis of 24/7 in terms of, I mean, that makes you want to throw up.
Yeah.
Speak to that.
Well, you said the greatest thing to me years ago. I had like 12 escrows at once going, and I was getting very uneasy. And I said, Steve, I think you just called it out on me and said something like, you need balance. You love to have balance. You want to make sure you're doing all your fun stuff. You care so much. Part of balance is knowing that it's okay to be out of balance.
Right.
Part of moderation is knowing that there'll be periods where you're not in moderation. So that piece I want to make very clearly. As you've always said, when you can make hay 24/7, baby, let's go.
When it's coming your way, get up on the table and scream.
And dance.
Give me more, man.
Yep, raise the ceiling.
Right.
But other than that, those moments, again, I have got to be able to die when I leave on this motorcycle today. If I get hit, my last thing will be a smile. No should have, could have, would have. I lived the fullest. I loved the people in my life. I made myself the best self I could be. And to me, that is the litmus test. 24/7 doesn't solve anything except give you, high cholesterol, probably heart disease and misery. I mean, stress is like, you're better off smoking 100 packs of cigarettes a day than being stressed and trying to fix things with, I've always had the opposite. We talked about this one of the last podcasts as a cook, a reduction is taking liquid that's not much flavor and you boil it down until the non-essential stuff goes away, the water, and you're left with just the flavor. I want to be a reduction. I want to be better for each client, not just do more clients. I want to be better for my family, not just have more vacations, right? It's the moments between, I think Ryan Holiday even said that. It's the moments between the moments where the magic is. Everyone waits for the big vacation or that really great quality time with the kids. No, that drive to school. Well, they're not going to talk to you then, but all those little moments are when the magic happens. And if you've got a pedal to the metal 24/7 mentality, you're going to miss all that. You're going to miss all that. But again, who am I to decide other people's lives? That's why I always say you need to first define, like I have, that personal constitution. If you haven't defined what a great life is for you, then how do you expect to know if you're having it? If you decide 24/7 is a great life for me, I'm just going to work myself to death. If that's truly your personal constitution, well, then congrats, you're doing it. But if you haven't stopped to say, what does that look like? Because 24/7 is not valiant. You're cheating. You can't be good in 20 hours. You're pathetic. So you got to be 24/7. You should be ashamed of yourself. If that's what it takes for you to do well, you're not focused on the right things.
So as we end today, I'll read this from Ego is the Enemy. Do we love the struggle? Do we love the work? Do we love the process? Do we love the pain and disappointment? Or do we chase short-term attention and validation? And that's what most people that's all they're doing.
Yep.
And I think you and I are testaments that life is up and down, all around, and it's all the same. I mean, the success and failure are really the same thing.
Yep.
You're giving your best effort. Sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't.
And the key is just keep going.
Right. I mean,
keep going.
That's it goes back to, where we started today, your circle. Be hyper aware of what's in the circle. That's where you focus all your effort, all your attention, all your energy to what you control, which is simply your inner world.
And
The
a
rest of it,
way shorter list.
there you go. All right, man.
Cheers.
Thank you.
The best as always.